Hey guys, Rasbora here with huge news. New dev brief has just dropped and you do not want to miss this. This is the best news in Hella Loose in years. All right, guys, welcome back. My name is Rasbora. I'm one of the official Hella Loose content creators. I'm so happy to go ahead and bring you this brand new news. I'm gonna start doing this video format. I kind of like this. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and put the topics down below in the comments. So if you want to bounce around and see all the new dev brief updates in order, feel free to watch the video. If you want to go and jump to the topics, I'll have it all for you. So dev brief number 191 has dropped. Tons of new core changes to the gameplay and a full listening of the larger community. So I'm so excited to jump right into it. So here we go without further ado. All right, dev brief number 191. What's changing? The main change here for the remainder of 2023, instead of going ahead and focusing, there's Penny in the back, instead of focusing on the roadmap that had been originally issued in 2023, is that it's gone. It is gone. Not canceled, but just gone for now. They're pushing everything back and they're going ahead and reallocating their focus into the 100-player game modes, warfare and offensive. We've spoken a lot of our old podcasts about the running speed, about the change of focus into the smaller game modes. As you know, they're bringing offensive. I'm sorry, not offensive. They're bringing objective as well as a skirmish game mode this month and in December. All that's gone for now. It'll come at a later point in time. And they are focusing on the 100-player game modes, which is pretty much what everyone plays Hella Loose for, right? Like large game modes, large focus on the player count and the realistic battles. It's very interesting that they put a lot of work into those small game modes, but I mean, that's a huge thing that the community's been mentioning. Like, no one's gonna play game modes that necessarily like the larger community plays Hella Loose for. I think it's great that they'll have those game modes in the future, but with all the bug fixes they need to do and all the stabilization they need to do, I'm super glad that in the next patches 14.2 and 14.3, they'll be reallocating that focus into what we play Hella Loose for. Next huge thing, player locomotion. Dive to prone is gone, and basically a removal, not a revert, but a removal of the speed increase. I was personally a fan of the 15% speed increase. I know it brought a lot of other issues to it, being the vehicle speed that just wasn't changed. The diving was able to go ahead and be manipulated in a sense. The zigzagging of players. So they've gone ahead and are removing the speed increase from 15% back to what it was originally, as well as gotten rid of the dive to prone, which again, I personally liked. I will say, to me, maybe not to everyone, but to me, like beforehand, I like the Hella Loose movement as well. So I can kind of go back both ways. I did like the increase, but it's interesting that they use some key phrases here. I want to go ahead and look into this part here. So I'll read this interesting portion to you. We understand that there are members of the Hella Loose community who will be disappointed with the decision to remove the increase in speed. However, recent fixes intended to reduce the impact of these changes haven't been as successful as we had hoped. This led to further investigation to be carried out to understand the deeper components of Hella Loose, including vehicles and how these currently affect our ability to make balancing tweaks without impacting the wider game. So my interpretation of that is that initially they thought they could go ahead and make a lot of these changes to Hella Loose. But once they made these changes, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to be completely transparent. It seems like there's a major like spaghetti code holding Hella Loose together. Like, I know there's a lot of old like Hella Loose key code that's just grandfathered in from like the core, game that is probably preventing them from increasing the vehicle speed as compared to the movement speed. We mentioned this in a lot of the podcasts where like an easy fix would just to increase the movement speed of the vehicles, right? Increase the vehicle speed proportionally and scale it, right, to what the infantry is moving now. It seems that's not a possibility. So I'm thinking that's why they went ahead and reverted it, is because that at the moment, hopefully, is not a possibility. And maybe there might be some changes in the future. My last podcast, we had some hot takes. We mentioned I would love the Battlefield 5 like seamless mobility implemented into Hella Loose, where I would compare Hella Loose mobility currently to where like Bad Company was. It's not great. It feels clunky, and it's like it'll get by. But I think in today's day and age, we expect a certain amount of traversal and locomotion. I want to be very clear. I know I had some haters already. Oh, Battlefield 5 movement would be terrible in Hella Loose. No, I'm talking about the locomotion and the traversal of Battlefield 5 and how seamless that is to get over these little rocks, little like boulders, little sticks sticking up the ground. That traversal is so seamless, and I would love that in Hella Loose. Because that is, to me, what a 2023 game expectation is. Where we're at with Hella Loose and kind of where we're going back to is a Bad Company 2 style movement and traversal, which is not bad. It's just, I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers playing Bad Company 2, but you couldn't vault into windows. You had to jump onto the ledge of the window, crouch, and then walk through. Like that's 2012, 2009? To me, it's just dated. Anyway, moving on. Brécourt Map. So with our roadmap adjustment, the new objective game mode will be moved back, as we mentioned, and that is pretty much going away. They're going ahead and bringing it at some later point in time due to simply allocating all of their focus into fixes for the current game, which is amazing. People have been yelling and screaming from the rooftops Reddit to the gutters of Steam forums. So I'm personally really happy that the allocation of the objective game mode and the skirmish game mode is just moved back in the timeline, and we're just not getting content, but going towards bug fixes and focus on the 100-player current game modes. British forces, I'll sum it up for you. Basically, they're going ahead and tweaking some features like firearms, the general bug fixes, as well as they're looking to go ahead and add British and German desert camo and uniforms. So more immersion, more realism, more historical accuracy into the British forces, which is awesome. I like the British forces, but they're just terrible right now. Like, they're a cool concept in game. They're not good. Like, it's just plain and simple. The guns, there's a major issue with the zeroing. That's being looked at and addressed. And hopefully for 14.3, they'll have it all zeroed correctly and nailed down, which is pretty much what they sum up here. What else? Coming to 14.3, a basic training environment. We're getting like a freaking practice range, dude. So they're going ahead and allocating a Churchill War Room, which is like a new scene that'll be in the main menu. And essentially, you'll be able to go ahead and see the field manual for the training inside of that war room. Pretty cool. Again, like, it seems like they're putting a huge focus on training and tutorial aspect with video tutorials on each of the functions of Hella Loose. But more importantly, we're getting a freaking practice range, boys. So practice range coming to Hella Loose. It's going to have distance markers. You're going to be able to use different guns. It's going to be a solo experience. And it looks like it has tanks too. Now, whether or not the tanks, I don't think they mention it here. Yeah, no, they do. Okay, so yeah, you'll be able to go ahead and test out the tanks. I'm sure you'll be able to go ahead and shoot the tanks, hopefully, with rockets. But yeah, huge update. They're going ahead and adding full freaking testing range that you can just test out pretty much everything in the game. That's amazing. That's huge. Squad does a really good job of a testing range where you can test out every single individual component. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start using this to test different things and you find that a lot of the guns are probably not zeroed correctly. I find that that is a major possibility. And hopefully what this helps is allow the community to go ahead and test them properly in a controlled environment, allow new people to test them, and maybe add zeroing in the future of Hell Loose, or just zero all the guns properly. That would be great. But this is amazing practice range. It was kind of leaked a little earlier with the there was a screenshot going around with new achievements. So there will be achievements tied, I would imagine, to loading into the practice range. That's cool. In-game store. They kind of talked about the in-game store a little bit. It's just basically saying what the in-game store is and isn't. It's not going to be pay to win. It's not going to break immersion. I'm sorry, folks that wanted your pink camouflage or gold M1911, you're not getting that, right? It's just going to be basically an area that you can go ahead and purchase content in the game. Like that's it. Like in the main menu, instead of having to go to Steam or instead of having to go to Xbox or PlayStation Store, you'll literally just be able to click into the in-game store and just purchase the summer like sale or whatever the case is, DLC with your normal uniforms and cosmetics inside the game. Super accessible, and I think it's just really focused against accessibility. Bug fixes. So I'll go ahead and go through the bug fixes that the 14.3 patch is going through, and it's focusing on in-game stutters. Terrible, awful, the worst. I'm getting more and more every single time. The best one, and boys, we did it. We did it. Give yourself a round of applause. I've been screaming from the rooftops forever about this. The freaking Panther reload speed, boys. Terrible. Why could this reload faster than every other tank and have the same armor except the turret? I don't understand. It was silly. They're fixing the Panther reload speed. I could just assume that they're bringing it in line with the Tiger. So gone are the days where you never see Tigers on the battlefield. You will see the Tigers again, and they will be beautiful, and everyone will be excited to be dynamic and using other guns and or other things. Sherman Firefly frontal damage. So I'm curious to see how this will work. I would be interested, like I would assume at the moment this is going to be just increased to where right now you can pen the front squares of the Sherman Firefly with a Panzerschreck, or you can pen it with a medium tank. I imagine what they're doing is bringing it up to a heavy classification, so you will no longer have to do that. I honestly don't think that's the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue for me is just the driving aspect of the Sherman. It's terrible. It's awful. So I'm glad they're fixing that. I honestly, like, where I would prefer it is make it like a medium hull and just make it faster than every other tank and act as essentially like a tank destroyer tank, right? And then eventually have the Churchill. Right now, it seems like they're just fixing it, so it's hopefully maybe just a placeholder where the Sherman Firefly goes to a heavy tank for now, and maybe they'll add the Churchill, which the Churchill is pretty much in game already, being the top of the British what is it called? The British bunkers, but I don't know. We'll see. British gun sights, British weapon sway, British fire rate, British weapon bolt animation. All of that is being fixed. I'm not sure if you saw my reload video that I posted, where you see some of the British reload animations, and they're pretty good, but there's some that are real jank from third person. So hopefully they're working on all those. As you know, you barely can use the British weapons right now being addressed. That's awesome. Correctly zeroing the British weapons. Terry Dactyl did a great video on the British weapons being zeroed, and the Sten gun was too high and now it's too low. Get these zeroed. I'm super, super happy. This is huge. This is huge. The double explosion, like, weird look. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you see an explosion, you're looking at like halfway and you'll see it kind of double back and forth. That's being fixed. Thank the Lord. That's been in the game and no one's like said anything for a year. What's going on? I was asking over and over and over, what is going on? Super happy that's being fixed. Ultra widescreen support. I don't use ultra widescreen, but great. Servers missing from server browser. We run a server, and yeah, sometimes it's just missing. Like Wild Bill was trying to join a server for so long and he just could not join for some reason. Huge fix. Xbox users, you're getting your weapon audio fixed. I know so many people have mentioned that to me when I've been playing console. Congrats, you're getting that fixed. That's awesome. So Wombat went ahead and got into some of the issues and how it's why it's so difficult to tackle. And I really like the level of transparency this dev brief goes into, and I really hope that going forward we add some more value into explaining the inner workings. It's so easy for people to just say, oh, why hasn't this been fixed? Instead of like understanding how it works. Really, really glad that they went into that. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into each one and really understand why. So with the loadout bug, around since the dawn of time, the loadout bug has never achieved a solid reproduction, which is super important for bug fixing. This particular bug causes players to spawn with incorrect loadout and makes it very difficult or impossible to find a fix by switching back to desired loadout unless the game is restarted. In live builds, extended idle periods seem to increase the chances of the bug occurring, which is actually what we mentioned in the podcast a couple times, where if we're sitting there wanting to go tank, we're deciding whether or not we take the medium Sherman or a medium tank or whatever the case is, or build nodes and wait for the heavy. They're like, oh no, let's go back to the medium every time. Every single time we'd get the standard loadout and would get the loadout bug where you don't get the current loadout you're requesting with a repair torch. With this knowledge and the use of the game analytics alongside a change in the build process for an upcoming PTE session, we're hoping to get a better understanding on how this issue occurs so that we can attempt to tackle it or determine the way in which loadout progression works in future development. Huge. Also, I'm sorry, I think I totally missed this. The freaking PTEs. The PTEs are coming back, boys. PTEs are coming back, and that's huge. So you on the screen can go ahead and participate in PTEs again. That's coming, I think, a little later this year. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and we're going to get into it in a second. But that's awesome, man. Huge. Grenade bugs. Basically, this bug would stop you from going ahead and throwing grenades. And they've gone ahead and been able to successfully reproduce it, which is huge. And it seems to be tied to the network latency. So they're addressing that. And hopefully they put that potential fix into 14.2, which is huge. Balancing fixes. So balancing the Axis forces has remained a topic of discussion for some time. The investigations into varying balancing requests are ongoing. However, when working on Update 14, we discovered that German soldiers had marginally faster acceleration compared to that of the other forces, meaning the time taken to reach the maximum speed for both sprinting and running would be quicker. When tuning the player acceleration for the last patch for Update 14, we ensured that all forces had equal acceleration, fixing this imbalance. As the player speeds and accelerations are now being readjusted, we'll ensure the player acceleration is kept consistent between forces to ensure the forces are balanced. So German Axis forces, you'll no longer have your drugs to make you faster. It's all going to be consistent, which is great. Console server browsing. Now, this is super interesting. They mention as of right now, it's not able to go ahead and be done, as originally it was gone ahead and created with the intent of just being cross-platform between consoles. Now, I want to read this part for you because I really, really find this interesting. Hellaloose, as it currently exists on console, does not have the necessary foundations to support server browsing. When the original conversion of Hellaloose to console was done, it was set up with the intention of supporting crossplay between console platforms only. As a result of this decision, an entirely separate set of infrastructure was created to support online play in a way that would meet console platform holder requirements. Super interesting. So I'm curious to see if that, like, now they're trying to they understand like what it is and they're trying to go ahead and readdress this. I wonder if they're ever going to once they get server browsing, if that implementation would be cross-platform with PC. I hope not, to be completely transparent. I know there's a lot of console players that are like, oh, we're just as good as PC. It's not about being as good as PC or not. I know there's so many good console players. The difference is we have a mouse and keyboard. It's just plain and simple. Like, we have the edge. We can go ahead and mark things and look at things and move and aim way faster and more effective than you can. That's the difference. Like, it's just a fact. So I love you guys, but I hope that's not the case. But this is kind of going ahead and alluding to that, I think. I don't know anything. I have no idea, but we'll see. New maps and DLC in 2023. While bug fixing is going to be our primary focus on the remainder of 2023, we're also looking to release desert uniforms to the British and German forces, while continuing to deliver 100-player maps as well as DLC. To ensure this can remain our focus, we plan on revisiting some aspects such as the base winter uniforms and address feedback around them next year. That's great. I mean, the winter uniforms are great. New maps, awesome. So it sounds like potentially we'll get new maps. I mean, it's as plain as that. Like, you're gonna get new maps. All right, I closed my blinds. Next thing, you're gonna get the summer DLC here. You can go ahead and purchase these summer DLC starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's July the 13th of 2023. Another huge thing, we're getting a map variant, which is something we mentioned a long time ago. Where's Carentan? Where's SME? Where's SMDM night variants? We're getting the SMDM night variant. Hopefully we'll get the Carentan and the SME night variant later. I mean, this is something that we should have gotten a long time ago. I'm just really excited they're really working on it and spacing these out. Probably the most important thing here, as it directly relates to our channel here, Reddit AMA and War Correspondent Podcast. You know, the Razcast, every Saturday at 1 p.m. on Twitch. We're getting a dev interview. If you want to go ahead and have your question asked and answered, be sure to be at the Reddit AMA, where there will be devs in chat going ahead and answering, and then come to the podcast. We're going to premiere it here on YouTube, and we'll also have it on Twitch. Date to be determined, but July 19th will be the Reddit AMA. So huge thing for our channel. Be sure, if you're not following, to go ahead and check it out. Also streaming it live on Twitch for you to watch, so link is also in the bio. Huge. That'll be with me and Fresh Baked Goods. 14.3, they don't have a release date yet, but they'll go ahead and determine that. PTE, they are targeting July 20th. They don't have the next PTE, but this will be specifically about the run speed change and the loadout bug. So make sure, if you're around on July 20th, you check out the PTE. It's pretty easy. Just go ahead and make sure you load up the other test environment. And I mean, the thing keeps going. So rubber banding, there's a rubber banding and stuttering going on currently in the game. And what they've been doing is going ahead and implementing a back-end fix to certain servers. We kind of mentioned it a little bit ago, where there's 3 servers US and 3 servers in the UK that are currently running a fix. We've gone ahead and determined that it has helped. So they're going ahead and now running to all the servers for G-Portal servers to basically fix the rubber banding. So the vehicle rubber banding that you get, hopefully that's no more, which is amazing. I mean, in our server that we run, we've been running that fix, and it has significantly, if not fully, removed the rubber banding, which is awesome. So with the in-game analytics here, we'll just dive right into it. With the recent increase in performance issues, the new in-game analytics have been raised by some members of the community as a potential cause. We can confirm it's not the case, as the new game analytics are logged only once a match has ended and therefore offers no performance impact while a match is in progress. We know some server owners have also experimented with disabling by that flag on their servers. This flag is not in relation to the new analytics. It's intended for analytics that were present in the game some time ago. Those analytics did indeed cause issues in the game and were disabled. However, the code was not completely removed. It's possible that the remaining code could have an performance impact, and as of 14.3, they're going ahead and removing all that legacy code. So last thing, message from the studio. We'll go ahead and read it. Thank you for continuing to support Hella Loose. We know this dev brief is a long one, so we won't keep you any longer. But we hope this has made our intentions clear. We want to work with you on building a Hella Loose that you enjoy and aim to resolve as many issues as we can. As always, we'll make sure to keep you up to date with our progress, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you on the front line. So there you have it, the biggest update of 2023 and the most impactful and probably the best in quite some time. Absolute turnaround by Team 17. So much transparency, huge allocation of bug fixes, and complete removal currently of the previous roadmap. Huge for Hell Let Loose. I'm personally super excited. Be sure to go ahead and tune into the podcast. We'll have a date for you. Make sure you join the Discord so we can have you in the conversation. I think just a huge W for Hella Loose and Team 17. I mean, I am really excited for the future of this game. I've always thought it was going to be pretty good, but I'm just excited now that they're really focused and reallocating their focus on the core game. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, Team 17, for the awesome dev brief. I know, like, Wombat has been putting a lot of work into this. So thank you to all of the devs and community. I mean, just keep giving feedback, man. I think constructive criticism is always welcome. And, you know, hopefully we can continue to do so.